Greetings everybody, this is Leviathan here, and today I'm coming back to you with some Diablo 3 news. We had a bit of a thought or rumor coming out of BlizzCon 2018 that we would be getting some sort of interesting tidbit for Season 16, and now we know essentially what that was all about. Posted just earlier today was the patch 2.6.4 PTR preview. As you know, right now we're on 2.6.1, so we're skipping a few numbers here because I guess this is just that chock full of changes that we needed to go bigger. The thing to note on this is that while we are previewing the PTR that's coming for 2.6.4, it doesn't start as it usually does when you get this posting. The PTR itself will start Wednesday, November 21st, which is 2 days from now if you're watching this video, as soon as I release it. So just keep that in mind. They want us to really test this thing thoroughly because it's only going to be live for 1 week. PTR starts this Wednesday, like I mentioned, and will run for 1 week. Thanksgiving will be a thing for us Americans, so maybe that'll give you some free time unless you're traveling like I will be, so I'll miss a few days. But definitely a lot in here to test, so just keep that in mind. They would like us to hop in there and hit it hard and heavy. And there's a bunch of things to sort of push that forward. As I mentioned before, again, it starts Wednesday, November 21st. There may be some periodic maintenance, outages, hotfixes, etc., minor patches. So they will be updating, hopefully rapid iteration as we give them feedback on what we're finding on this PTR. To help out with testing, there will be 2 buffs active: increased legendary drop rate, which we're used to, and also double blood shard drops. I'm not sure if this means that we'll also have Dank Meme, that PTR vendor in town, where we can get a lot of the sets from him via blood shards and whatnot, but if that is the case, should definitely make getting all your items relatively simple so that you can get in and do the testing. And I mentioned sets because that is a majority of what's being buffed here. As we continue onward, I will dig into that, and I'll also leave you some analysis at the end of this video too, so I'll show you exactly what's being changed, and then I'll give you kind of my feedback. I might do some along the way too. And also, if you need this particular blog post, it'll be in the video description below, so you can go ahead and read along with us or review at a slower rate if you want to do so. And as mentioned, they will be taking feedback, so you'll have your typical PTR feedback forums, posts for bugs as well, so you should definitely make sure to get those in there. The goals: they want people to push greater rifts as high as possible for seasonal and non-seasonal, and experiment with mixing sets. Since we'll be getting the Season 16 buff, which is tucked in here somewhere, but since it's right here on the current thing that we're talking about, it's the Season of Grandeur for Season 16, and what that means is everybody will have a free Ring of Royal Grandeur without having it equipped. It will not stack, that's one thing to note. So if you were to equip a Ring of Royal Grandeur or put one in your cube, you can't get double, so then you only need 4 pieces to complete a 6-piece, but you will get a free one, and you can still use whatever rings you want. So essentially you only have to run around with a 5-piece of any given set to be benefiting from the 6-piece set bonus. So this should open up a couple of slots that might be able to introduce useful or potentially very powerful legendaries in certain slots. I'm thinking primarily right off the bat for us demon hunters, Nat 6 Marauder 4, you usually need a Ring of Royal Grandeur to actually make that thing work, but now that doesn't need to be in your cube anymore, so introduce your COE, and I think that's going to be likely the strongest way to play Demon Hunter in Season 16, but a little bit of spoilers, since I did say I would give you feedback later. In any case, there is a new thing here on PTR tips. They don't usually direct us exactly what to do or where to go, but this is just sort of telling exactly what they want out of this. If you're a monk player, really try to get in there and test out the monk stuff. This is essentially just them guiding us for the feedback so that they can get really good info out of us, since again it is such a short period of PTR duration. Prior to PTR, puzzle rings, bovine, barter shoes, so just get ready for it in these next coming days. Get a bunch of keys farmed up so that you can be ready to push a bunch of greater rifts. Whatever mats and things you feel will be valuable. The double bounty thing is still going for Season 15, so maybe stock up a bunch of those so that when you copy over your character to PTR, you can have a bunch of bounty mats ready to go to reforge all sorts of legendaries that you might find useful. Those are things to try to keep in mind. And then break things, you know, try to really push stuff as far as you possibly can so that they will know what's busted and maybe hopefully be able to fix it before it actually goes live. That would be nice, so we can have a nice clean Season 16. Yeah, so here we are digging into the meat of what we got. There are some quality of life changes which are actually great. I haven't seen anybody say that they're against these changes just from reading the community reaction to this so far. So a bunch of these. 5 additional armory tabs have been added for all characters, so now you can have 10 per character, which is great. The only thing that does suck is still in hardcore, when you die, you lose all those setups, and sometimes it's hard to remember exactly what you had. But this, in general, is a great welcome change because there would be times where you might have your group 4-player setup, a group 3-player setup, a boss kill setup, a speed farm setup, a solo setup, a bounty setup, and you see I've already gone plus 5 fingers on this, so you know it's nice that we'll be able to have all those setups saved. Welcome that change. Greater Rift Keystones are now stored in the Materials tab, so those are ones that we don't have to hold with this anymore. They're in that void storage. Makes sense to me. Nothing too exciting or crazy about that one, just a little bit more stash space, I suppose. Primal Legendaries, this is great, are now marked by a red beam when they drop. I saw Big Daddy Den claiming the origin of this. He's been a stalwart, you know, fan of wanting this to be in the game, so it's here. Congrats, Tony, you got this. Primal Legendaries on the ground will also be indicated by a red pentagram icon on the minimap. I think this is a good change because it just breeds more excitement for when Legendaries drop. If you see the red beam, you see the pentagram, you can definitely get hype. Hopefully it's actually hitting on an item that you want to be primal, and not more Blackthorns, right? Alright. And last but not least, Primal Legendaries will now have a red border and updated background on their icons. I guess this just makes it more obvious that they're primals. Sure, why not? As far as Greater Rifts go, this is a welcome change in my opinion. Gameplay of micromanaging Paragon points during the course of a Greater Rift did not feel especially like engaging gameplay, and it wasn't consistent with other existing rules when you're in GRs. So in addition to the below change to matchmaking, we're also, wait, I just read that incorrectly, but in any case, what they're doing here is making it so that you cannot change your Paragon points when you're inside of a Greater Rift. There were people doing all sorts of macro type stuff and whatnot to quickly change from vitality to your main stat and so on and so forth. Just being able to get rid of that I think is great because it levels the playing field for players that weren't engaging in those activities to begin with. And it does make sense in terms of like when you go into a Greater Rift, it should be whatever you bring in and no changes at all, right? So I think one thing to also consider with that, and it shouldn't make that big of a difference, but you also won't be able to assign any new Paragon points that you gain while you're in a Greater Rift killing stuff and gaining experience. Side effect. Players can now be matched in the public games where a Greater Rift is open, so players who join in this manner won't be able to enter the active rift, and the players inside the rift will be able to continue with no additional difficulty scaling until that Greater Rift run has been completed. I didn't realize that this was a thing. Again, I don't do much public matchmaking myself, but I guess that's probably a welcome change for people who are looking to get Greater Rift groups going together. Because I suppose if you're trying to get a Greater Rift group, you're going to be running probably Greater Rifts while you're waiting, and then during that time when you're running them, no one can matchmake with you, so yeah, I guess that does make sense. As mentioned previously, they give us the preview of the Season 16, a bonus for the seasonal theme. The buff has been implemented, Season of Grandeur, so this buff gives all seasonal players legendary power from Ring of Royal Grandeur, and as you know, makes it so that you reduce the number of items necessary for your set bonuses. Excuse me. Again, doesn't stack, either if you equip it or in Kanai's Cube, and unlike previous seasonal buffs, this is important, this buff will not apply to non-seasonal players. So this is actually one of those things that I think is enticing players to come back to seasons. It should be something that, you know, for players that might say, I'll skip this season, I just want to play non-seasonal. Now there's an actual difference between the two, so you will have to decide, is this seasonal theme cool enough for me to go ahead and start over again and try that out? Or is it something I still want to skip and I'll just play non-seasonal? I like that's a thing. When completing, I like this change, when completing a Greater Rift level 70 solo for the first time, a Primal Legendary is guaranteed to drop from the Rift Guardian. This was something we had said all along because there's no achievement, there's no call out to when you unlock your primals. Everyone knows you have to go and do a Greater Rift 70 solo to do it. but everyone was kind of just like, did I actually do it? You know, it takes a while sometimes before you get your first primal. So the fact that it will drop guaranteed from that very first GR70 clear, great. Now you get that reward so you can get your primal Blackthorns right away, right? Right. In any case, we'll move right along. Class set changes. So this is the meat and potatoes, like I was mentioning previously. Lots of set changes going on. That's the brunt of what we've got here, and it looks like it's essentially attempting to balance out the sets that are performing, maybe you call them overperforming, such as Akans with Condemn, Necros just in general with everything they do with Pestilence. I'd say Wizard, but we'll get to why I don't want to include that in just a moment. So the idea is that we have these sets that are really the S tier, top of the top, and we want to kind of bring everything else near there or within striking distance. I think what the goal is anyways is that hopefully each class will have something that is like right up there, right? Like if Condemn is the bar and it's at high 120s consistently, then hopefully the Barbarian will have something to do that, the Demon Hunter will have something to do that, so on and so forth down the line. And of course, providing maybe other options for those classes that only have one set that's super dominant, maybe they'll have others that will also be, you know, close to those dominant ones. So, taking another tuning pass across the class sets, and again, remember, this is PTR, so while some of these numbers look wild, they may not be the final numbers. They could even go up. They could go higher if they're still underperforming, but they also might come down if they're overperforming. Again, you know, with parity probably trying to be the main goal here. Legacy and Nightmares, a lot of people have been asking for this update. The bonus has been increased from 100% to 500%, so that's for each ancient item that you have equipped. You're getting 500% damage. So this could be significant. It's weird, I will say, that this is coming with the same patch that's giving Season 16 its Ring of Royal Grandeur buff, because you kind of put them at odds, right? Like, why would you play Lawn if you're going to get a free Ring of Royal Grandeur, which goes directly to set play? I think what this is doing, though, is future-proofing, so that they probably won't patch before Season 17, before Season 18. We might be in this sort of what you might call maintenance mode for D3, where the patches might still come, but just, you know, longer span of time between them. So if that's the case, then you buff Lawn now so that in some future season where there is no Ring of Royal Grandeur, Season of Grandeur buff, Lawn might be more competitive, or, you know, even potentially the way to go. And especially if, like some of us have been wanting, a season where there are no sets that drop and only Lawn is there, or no sets at all, that could be interesting. So keep that in mind. Lawn could make a little comeback in the future. For Barbarians, Legacy of Raycor, a lot of people are wondering why, because Raycor is already performing super well. I was actually talking to some people in my Discord, and apparently the highest Raycor clear right now is at a 124. And Raycor is going up, 6-piece set bonus from 2,800 to 7,000. Who knows if that'll stick? I mean, again, the idea could be also that, you know, if Barbs are still a little off from what Condemn can do, then you want to get them there, right? So maybe that's why the buff to Raycor exists. Immortal King's Call, that's going from 1,500 to 4,000 on the 6-piece set bonus. Might of the Earth going from 5,600 to 20,000. Just big numbers here. Wrath of the Waste, 6-piece set bonus going from 3,000 to 10,000. And this is really just across the board what you'll be seeing in the next section here. Just a lot of these 6-piece set bonuses, and in some cases the 2-piece set bonuses getting boost to their damage over and over and over and over. Doubled and doubled and doubled, as the meme has become and always has been. Crusaders, Thorns of the Invoker is getting some love. 2-set bonus is increased from 140 to 350%. That's the stacking mechanic on that one. And then the 6-piece set bonus has been increased from 5,400 to 15,000. And that's that single target bonus on Thorns of the Invoker. So I think a lot of people enjoy the Thorns playstyles, and they've been kind of put back with recent changes. So with Lawn coming back potentially, Lawn Bombardment could become a thing for Crusaders again, and then maybe Thorns of the Invoker here also gain some love. We'll have to see. It's going to be tough to unseat Condemn, I really feel. I'm not sure, you know, just from looking at these numbers that this will do it, but that's why you have PTR to test. Roland's getting some love as well. 4-piece set bonus increased from 3,300 to 13,000. And the 6-piece set bonus increased from 50% increased attack speed to 75%. So you're just going to be whipping those sweep attacks and shield bashes. And the attack speed's going to look nuts. I feel like Roland's has always just been such a potentially fun set, but I just don't know, man. I don't know what they'd have to do to it for me to enjoy it, but I just do not enjoy that gameplay stuff for some reason. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Seeker of the Light 6-piece set bonus has been increased from 2,000% for Blessed Hammer damage to 12,000. And again, recall that Seeker of the Light was the best way to play Crusader prior to the Akan buffs bringing Condemn to the forefront. So I don't know if this will bring Blessed Hammer back to top notch, or if it still will be Condemned. But I think this probably is the one to keep your eye on and potentially test out if you're a Crusader. That's 6 times. Multiplier there. Demon Hunter, stuff I'm most interested in at the moment. Embodiment of the Marauder, 6-piece set bonus increased from 3,000 to 12,000. Unhallowed Essence, 6 set bonus, increased from 100% to 350%, and as you may be familiar with, that's your per point of discipline bonus. So, you know, say most Demon Hunters will have 80 plus discipline, so that's essentially going from like 8,000 to 2,400, or 24,000 plus. You know, quick mental math, I'm sure it's not quite right, but close enough. Nat's Vengeance 6-piece set bonus increased from 3,500 to 14,000. This again is aiding in that N6 M4 playstyle, and when you again consider that Ring of Royal Grandeur is going to be free in Season 16, I'm really thinking that N6 M4 will be the best pushing set for Demon Hunters in Season 16. We'll see though, because Shadows, my favorite playstyle, is getting some real nice buffs here. 2-piece set bonus going from 1,200 to 6,000. Which just on its own is insane. That makes just getting the 2-piece bonkers. It already was really strong, but that's just nuts. You'll be able to do T13 with your 2-piece set bonus. And then the 6-piece set bonus going from 50,000 to 75,000. That's going to be insane single target, and you know that's the one that boosts your Impale on the first target hit. So I don't know if this brings it back into the realm of viable Rift Guardian killer. It's really hard to supplant the Necromancer just because of the amazingness that is Frailty. And if you're also looking at high tier greater rifts in 4 players, the Thorns Necro is really what's taking the cake there. And I don't know, it's such a strong way to kill the Guardian that seems it's almost like because that playstyle exists, you'd have to have insane damage numbers to compete with the playstyle, not just the actual damage output. But I don't know, either way I think this is going to be great for players that love Shadows like myself, because you will be able to push this much higher in single solo efforts. I can't wait to test that. Monks get in love with Uliana's, a big buff, going from 2,100% on the 6-piece to 9,000. Inna's getting love as well, 6-piece set bonus from 150% to 1,500%. Some people are saying this could be the return of Inna's Generator Monk. Uliana's people are really interested and intrigued in. Monkey King Garb, which is Sun Wukong, actually getting some love here too. 6-piece set bonus increase from 1,000 to 1,500%. One of the smaller increases, but again, this was the best performing setup for monks prior to this PTR, so in current gameplay days. And I think what this again is attempting to achieve is notch it up just a little bit so that it does compete with some of those other higher performing setups from other classes. So we'll see. And then Raymond of 1,000 Storms just got crazy buffed. Crazy buffed. 2-piece set bonus went from 100% to 400%. 6-piece set bonus for Dashing Strike went from 13,000 to 60,000. And then the 6-piece set bonus for the Spirit Generator damage went from 1,300 to 6,000. So I think I saw someone doing mental math, or calculated math actually, and saying this was the set that received the biggest buffs across the board. And some are saying this could actually be the one that takes the cake for bounties. As you know right now, it's your UEDH that's really dominating 4-player split bounties for T13. But if you can just dash through the whole map and kill everything, yeah, that's going to be the fastest way to do it. You'll get like 3-minute bounty split farms in T13s. It'll be nuts. We'll see if that one comes true. Necro's not receiving a lot of buffs because they were, you know, for all intents and purposes, already quite strong. So the only thing getting love here is Traguls, the blood set. 6-piece set bonus increase from 3,300 to 3,800. And, you know, again, that's not even that much love to begin with. So they're really trying to keep Necromancers where they are and get everybody catching up to them. I'm still not convinced that this will help us supplant rat runs, as some of you know them as. Rathma set, you know, is still what it is. That whole setup is just so effective at clearing high greater rifts quickly. I don't know. I mean, there could be something that comes back, because there were the old speed farm setups for greater rifts with like lightning wizards. Some people have tried out condemned Crusaders stacking for that. I don't know if any of this will shake that up, but I think that would be the most welcome thing, is if we could get away from rat runs, because so many people have done them for so many seasons now. I think just, yeah, the staleness is there, the stale factor, so people would love to move away from it. We'll see if any of this shakes that up. Witch Doctor's up. Spirit of Irakir getting a 6-piece set bonus increase from 4,500 to 9,000. They doubled it. Helltooth Harness, 2-piece set bonus increase 1,500 to 3,000. 6-piece set bonus increase from 4,400 to 9,000. Raymond. A lot of people are looking at this and being like, what? Raymond. So, oh, sorry, Jade Harvester. I forget that Raymond is actually a set. So Raymond of the Jade Harvester. So Jade, going from 560 seconds on the 2-piece set bonus to 3,500 seconds. And for those who are unfamiliar, it's that dot playstyle where you're essentially like blowing up your dots based on the duration that they would be getting. These buffs are like weird to look at in isolation, but when you take into account how the dots work and how the set explodes them, this is some insane single target damage that you'll be getting. And then 6-piece set bonus also got a buff from 1,650 seconds to 10,000 seconds. So I saw SVR, one of my buddies, really excited about the just insane potential for Jade Harvester, even potential Rift Guardian killer theory crafting going on for that for Witch Doctor. So maybe something to look forward to there. A different role than the Witch Doctor has ever fulfilled, since they got their trash killer role usurped by the Wizards. Maybe they'll come back in style as RGKs. And last but not least, Zuni Moss's Haunt, 6-piece set bonus increase from 5,500 to 15,000. So, you know, previously there's the whole Firebat stuff that's been going on. All their sets got buffed, and I think that is the case that was needed for Witch Doctor, because they and the Demon Hunter were historically the two classes that just, even though all their stuff kind of felt balanced among them, they weren't nearly catching up to any of the high-performing classes like Crusader and Wizard and Necro. So they needed just all their sets, you know, pushed up. And we'll see if this is enough to get them within that striking distance, like I mentioned. Wizards, oddly, I don't get this. Tal Rasha's gets a buff. 6-piece set bonus from 750 to 3,000. Tal Rasha is already, though, performing with Star Pact setup for Wizards in both solo and in your 4-player meta high greater rift pushing. So this is nuts, because players have already reached greater rift 150, which is the current cap to greater rifts, with your Tal Rasha setup. And now it's even better. I think you'll be chasing at some point just who can get the fastest 150. It's, I don't know, it's kind of, that one's a mystery to me. But hey, again, PTR, so maybe it might not stick, maybe it'll come down, who knows. Not quite sure what Blizzard's after on that one. Delseer getting a nice buff, 6-piece set bonus going from 3,800 to 8,500. Frozen Orb has been the playstyle there. A lot of people excited to see what they can do with this buff. And then Veer's Amazing Arcana, 6-piece set bonus going from 50% bonus damage to 100%. And I believe that's another one of those stack mechanics. So, you know, while it's like, oh, you know, 50 to 100, it will matter quite a bit. And there's some odd Wizard playstyle, again, one of my least knowledgeable areas of D3, but there's some like reverse Veers build that potentially could benefit, so look out for that. Could be something crazy. But that is actually all we got. And I say all we got, there's a lot to be done with all of that as far as testing goes, and again, it's in a limited span of time, just 1 week. The rest of the details here are how to get into the PTR, how the character copying and all that works. So again, if you want this info, it will be in the video description in a link to let you know exactly what you're dealing with. I want to hear from you guys. What are you excited about as far as the outlook for Season 16? Do you feel like this is enough of a seasonal theme that kind of gets to what you hoped for with seasonal themes and them being, you know, substantial changes to the way that we play the game? Should they go further than this? Is this a good step in the right direction? You know, throw out other seasonal themes you might like to see them now that they're starting to approach these in a little bit more than just like a double goblins, double bounty bag sort of situation. And then talk to me about your classes. What are you looking forward to in terms of the buffs for some of these classes? What are you going to hop in and test? You know me, Demon Hunter, like, has stolen my heart, even though I used to love Crusader, and I still do. But man, I gotta get in here and see what I can do with the Shadow setup. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you all. Hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel so that if there are any updates to the PTR or anything that I discover on the PTR, we can talk about it in a future video and you won't miss it. Also, feel free to check out my stream. I will try to get some streaming time done on the PTR, twitch.tv/Leviathan111. If we discover stuff together, that could be a lot of fun. So make sure to come on through and get it done. My rhymes are finished for now, but until the next video, I bid you adieu. Thank you so much for watching the content, and see you in the PTR, my friends. Adios.